They've got that building saturated by now. We should know something before long.
By the time police secured the Depository building, an employee, Harvey Oswald, had already slipped out.
Well, that's when someone came up and knocked on the door of the bus. Although this is no bus stop here, knocked on the door of the bus, and I opened the door, and a man got on the bus and paid his fare.
Bus driver Cecil McWaters says that man was Oswald. But with the bus mired in traffic, the passenger got off and caught a cab.
Well, he just looked like an ordinary working man. He got in, said he wanted to go to 500 block North Beckley.
Oswald went to his boarding house and picked up his pistol.
In Dallas, Texas, 3 shots were fired at President Kennedy's motorcade in downtown Dallas. The first reports say that President Kennedy has been seriously wounded by this shooting.
Well, I was listening, had the television on, listening, trying to find out what happened to President Kennedy when he came in. It must have been after 1 o'clock. He come in and he wasn't running, he was just in a fast walk. I just said, "Are you sure in a hurry?" And he didn't answer me and didn't say nothing. When he went out walking fast the same way, and I was still listening there about broadcasting about President Kennedy.
There were no witnesses to the route I took.
This police car stopped. The policeman calmly opened the door.
But sometime before 1:15, Helen Markham saw police officer J.D. Tippett stop Oswald near the corner of 10th and Patton.
He folded his hands like this. He put them in through the window, up on the window, and he leaned over like this. For me, I didn't pay no attention because I was just, you know, tall, friendly. And the policeman walked got to even the front wheel on the driver's side, and this man shot him in the wink of your eyes. Just bang, bang, bang. He didn't break out and run fast. He walked fast down the sidewalk, back towards me, and then he seen me. And then he done like this. And of course I did too, and then I slapped my hands upon my face. But I couldn't scream, I couldn't move. What would I do?
We have a report that an officer has been involved in a shooting in the 400 block of East 10th.
The intersection is about a mile from Oswald's boarding house, and there are skeptics who question whether Oswald could travel that distance and shoot Officer Tippett in less than 15 minutes. But other witnesses saw him running from the area.
I was just standing on the front porch of our used car lot office, and I heard some shooting. What sounded to me like 5 shots. I could see clearly he had this pistol in what we used to, in the Marine Corps, call the raised pistol position. And he wasn't on a dead run, but a good fast trot. And I noticed that he was very pale. He was just deathly white. And I hollered at him. I said, "Man, what in the hell is going on?" And he almost stopped and said something to me which I could not understand. And I ran down the direction of the shooting, and I saw Officer Tippett laying in the street. I could tell by looking at him that he was dead. He was laying on his pistol. And then I ran to the squad car and called in on the radio and told them that an officer had been shot. And they said that someone else had already reported it, so for me to stay off the air.
Suspect last seen running west on Jefferson.
From there, the trail led to a shoe store where salesman Johnny Brewer talked to Dallas reporter Eddie Barker.
He walked in, the police made a U-turn, and he looked over his shoulder. He just looked scared. His shirt tail was out, and he looked like he'd been running. They broadcast a description on the radio of this man. It was 5'8", 5'9", 150 pounds, and this Oswald matched the description. And well, just a few minutes before he walked into the lobby, on the radio they had a bulletin that an officer had been shot here in Oak Cliff. And he walked in, he matched the description.
Were there a lot of police cars in the area?
Yeah, there was a lot of police cars. There were some cars coming up Jefferson Street. When they did, Oswald turned and walked up to the theater. When he went out the lobby and toward the theater, I walked out to the sidewalk and watched him go in. Then I walked up to the theater and asked Miss Postal there, the cashier, if she had sold a ticket to this man wearing the brown sports shirt, you know, his description. She called the police.
Did they get a suspect? I believe we have him in the Texas Theater now. 10-4.
Police grabbed me and asked me what I was doing there, and I told them. And they asked me if the man was still in the theater. I said yes. They asked me to point him out, so.
Johnny Brewer from the shoe store and a couple other officers on the stage, and he had pointed into the direction of the rear of the theater and said that was a man that we were looking for, sitting at the rear of the theater alone.
Dallas Patrolman M.M. McDonald in 1964 demonstrated to reporter Eddie Barker how he subdued and captured Oswald in the Texas Theater.
Yes, he was sitting in that seat there with his hands in his lap. And as I walked up to the aisle, I turned in the aisle, I said, "Get on your feet." And he stood up immediately. He brought this right hand up to his chest.
Did he say anything when you...
As he was bringing his hands up, he brought the other one up to eye level. He said, "Well, it's all over now." At that time, I was reaching this way, and his hand got in front of mine, owned a pistol. My hand grabbed the pistol in this manner, and he hit me with that left hand to the nose. And when he did, I came back and hit him like this. He slapped the pistol. I turned the pistol around, and I got my hand on the butt. Came over like this. I was holding him with this hand. I handed this pistol to an officer that was out in the aisle.
We had a shooting of a police officer, which was DOA at Methodist. The suspect has been apprehended at Texas Theater and route to station.
Have there been any developments that you can tell me on the suspect that shot the officer? Was there any connection with the shooting of the president? Sure, at this time it's my understanding he is the same person. He is in custody.
He was carrying the revolver that tests would later show was used to kill Tippit. It was just 2 hours after he left the school book depository. Oswald was arrested for the murder of J.D. Tippit, but when he arrived here at the Dallas police station, officers realized that he was also the employee reported missing from the Texas school book depository. And that's when Lee Harvey Oswald became the first and the only suspect in the assassination of John F. Kennedy.